Hello bedheads! So today I have a pros and cons of living in New York City video. I was going to do just like a pros and cons of living in a big city, but the only big city I've ever lived in is New York City. I figured I would just speak on my own experience of living in New York City and what my pros and cons are, specifically like more of opinion-based things, which obviously a pros and cons list is like opinion-based. You can't make a pros and cons list of just like facts because it's your own personal pros and cons list. So I have it right here. I feel like I have a pretty equal, like my pros list is a little bit bigger, but I feel like I put quite a bit of cons on there. I feel like when I talk about living in New York City, I'm always very like, oh, I love New York, New York's amazing, blah, 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 blah. And I rarely complain about it, except for the weather. I always complain about the weather. Because to me, the pros kind of do outweigh the cons, at least for living here for a couple years. I don't know if I would live here for like the rest of my life based on my pros and cons list, but I've definitely enjoyed living here a lot more than I've disliked living here. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So one of my pros is there's always stuff to do. Always, which is probably my biggest pro, and probably everyone who lives in New York City's biggest pro, is that you are never bored. And if you are bored, you could always not be bored. You're just choosing to be bored, which people say can happen anywhere, like you decide if you're bored or not anywhere, but that is a lie. I grew up in a small town in Oklahoma and spent most of my high school career being extremely bored out of my mind because there's just not much to do. You can't just create a park, or you can't just create a bookstore. You can't just like wish it to be and it's there in a small town. You either have to drive 20 to 30 minutes to find something to do and spend more money, or you're just bored, or you come up with these lunatic ideas of just like driving to nowhere and then driving back home, or watching a TV show that's trash but you literally have nothing else to do, so you're just watching that trash TV show. I love in a big city how there's always something to do, whether it's going to Coney Island or Ellis Island or Liberty Island, or going to Fifth Avenue, walking around the Chrysler Building or the Empire State Building, or staying around where you live and just going out to eat, going to see a movie. There's so much food, so many parks, but they're like adult parks. A lot of other places that aren't big cities, there are parks for like small children, but in a big city you have parks for like adults, which is awesome and I love it. And there are street performers everywhere that can entertain you for hours and hours and hours. You are guaranteed great concerts, great parks, amazing museums. Everything is of like the highest standard because it is New York City and people come here to be the best of the best of the best. So everything is like top notch. You're not getting like these lame Broadway shows or these horrible museums that are like so boring. Basically everything is phenomenal, which is incredible and a big pro. Every museum that you walk into, the libraries, everything is just top notch and above and beyond. Even just walking around the streets are beautiful. But a con for me is that winter sucks here. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify really quickly about why I said winter sucks, because I kind of just said winter sucks and then I went on to talking about not having a car, but the two go hand in hand because winter sucks because you don't have a car, and so you are just walking outside in the cold, rain, snow, whatever, for a lot longer than if you did have a car and you just like hopped in your car and drove places, which some people do have a car here and it's easy for them, or they just get taxis. But when you're balling on a budget, you take the train or you just walk wherever. So yeah, the winter does suck and it's a lot longer. Like the winter lasts forever here. Now back into the video. Because you don't have a car, which is another con of mine, which you can have a car, but it's like more complicated and you have to like pay for parking sometimes and it's hard to find a parking spot and all of that kind of stuff. But then a pro is public transit. You can literally get anywhere you want to without having the responsibility of like trying to find your way there. You can just hop on a train and it'll take you there. But also another con is that getting places sometimes takes forever and it's a little bit more complicated. It's not like you're just driving and like you get to wherever you want. It's like, okay, I have to get off at this stop, transfer to the A train, then at 34th Street I've got to transfer to the D line and like all of that kind of stuff. There's a pro and con to everything, obviously. There's always something to do, but there's always money to be spent, you know what I mean? I'm making this too complicated, I think. Another con that I put is there's no family around. I don't have any family in New York City except for my little sister, but for the first year that I lived here, I was completely alone, didn't have any family members living here, which sucks. especially around like the holidays and on weekends when you're normally like hanging out with your family. And then you get to watch on FaceTime and on Snapchat and get sent pictures of your family having a grand old time and going to see movies and going out to eat and hanging out, and you're the only one not there, which sucks. I think that's my biggest con. Like if my family lived in New York City, I would probably never leave because I love the city, but there's definitely a hole in my heart because my family's not here and I'm extremely close to my family. They are my best friends. So being a very family-oriented person and living 1,400 miles away from your family is definitely a big con. A big pro for me is people's mindsets here. They are just so open to everything. Nobody thinks you're crazy, which I know sounds weird, but growing up in a small town, thinking a little bit differently than everyone else, you are definitely like more labeled. In a big city, people don't really care about what you are, who you are, unless they're close to you. And if they're close to you, most people are like very open-minded and kind of just let you be, if that makes sense. And then kind of following that, I also wrote down you can be whoever you want to be in New York City. People come here to be who they want to be, whether it's being a dancer or a street performer or an artist or a singer, be an entrepreneur, anything and everything. People are doing it here. If you're in a small town, you definitely are not as exposed to other people's dreams and you're not as exposed to what possibilities are out there. There's just a lot less of a selection of careers that you're exposed to. And here you're exposed to all different kinds of careers, all different kinds of lifestyles. If it exists in the world, it is in New York City, whether it's being like a pescatarian or a Buddhist or a vegan, a Christian, someone who doesn't believe in anything, or someone who's searching to believe in something. I don't know if that's a pro or a con. I think it's a pro because it helps you find what you really believe in and makes you more solid in it. Does that make sense? Like I grew up a Christian and I came here and I almost like re-became a Christian. I saw everyone else's lifestyle and I was just like, oh my gosh, yes, the way I've been living is truly what I believe in. I don't know, it's not like you believe in something just because that's the only thing you've ever been exposed to. If you believe in something here, it's because you've been exposed to everything else and you still believe what you believe, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I don't know if I make sense at all. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of following that as well, another pro is you can go out looking like crap and people do not care. From rich people that never leave their house looking less than like a 10 out of 10, and there are people who leave their house in their pajamas and robes and like go walk their dog in their slippers or barefoot, and there are kids with like crap all over their face and like basically walking around in a diaper, and there are also kids with Gucci shoes on and a Louis Vuitton diaper bag. Everyone is so different here, so it gives you the freedom and like the mental clarity to figure out who you want to be and what you want to be like, all the way down to the way you dress. And I think living in a small town, you are so exposed to so little. With social media, you're exposed to other things, yes, but I don't know, like I didn't feel as comfortable being different back home because I knew that I was either gonna go to church and people were gonna look at me weird for what I was wearing, or I was gonna go to school and get made fun of because of what I was dressed like. And here, everybody is so weird that nobody's weird. Everyone's just so out there and doing their own thing and being whoever they want to be, so you're not being looked at weird because you're wearing a ponytail on the top of your head. And yes, you can be whoever you want to be back home and dress however you want back home, but sometimes it's a little bit harder and it suppresses your creative side because you are subconsciously nervous about getting made fun of or subconsciously not wanting to offend anyone. Alright, now on to real estate. In New York City, you get tiny frickin' apartments. You're either paying a whopping $3,000 for an apartment that's decent in Manhattan, or you're paying $1,500 for a shoebox. I mean, you can pay like $10,000 for an apartment that's beautiful and a nice size, but you would be paying $1,000 for that same apartment in a small town. My parents' house payment each month for a 5-bedroom house is less than what I pay for the rent here, where I have not even 1 bedroom. So yeah, that's obviously a big con. But if space doesn't matter to you and you're never in your apartment, then you're good to go. But if you like having a lot of stuff and you enjoy having a big room or spacious living situation, you're in trouble in New York City, or you're paying big bucks. Now the last con for me, it's kind of like 2 cons put into one. Don't ever feel completely just safe and like nothing will ever happen to you. Like I did living in a small town, like, oh, I can't imagine anything bad happening to me right now. Like the worst thing you could ever think of was like getting in a car wreck back home, and now it's like I could be murdered or raped or jumped. My apartment could be broken into, or there could be a fire, or there could be a flood. Cops could freaking shoot me down. I could get shot in the street for no reason. There's just so many more crazies around. You just feel a little less safe than you do in a quiet hometown. I mean, I feel like a lot of abductions happen in small towns. Like I don't know, I feel like more of that crap happens in small towns anyways, but living in a big city, it's definitely a little bit creepier. You just have to be on your guard more, which is my like second con to that con, which is you always have to be on your guard. You always have to pay attention. You can never completely like let your guard down and just like do whatever you want. You kind of always have to be watching out for yourself and whoever you're with, especially as a big sister. Like since I'm the only person that lives with my little sister, I feel a little bit responsible for her, a lot responsible for her. So when we're out together, I feel like I'm the one who has to be paying attention and like on guard and figuring out, you know, where we're going, making sure we don't look like sitting ducks and don't look too confused, don't look too naive. You know, you just have to think about things that you never really think about in a small town. One, because you're driving everywhere, and two, because you pretty much like know everyone and know everything like the back of your hand. And I don't know if that's just like being an adult thing, because I've never been an adult in a small town. My entire adult life has been in New York City. So maybe that's just, yeah, being an adult, figuring out more things, and you start thinking of safety a little bit more than when you're growing up. Back home, you can literally just like do whatever you want and you never feel unsafe. Like very rarely do you feel unsafe. So that was all of my cons, and then I have one last pro, which is a very broad pro, but it's the fact that you have access to literally everything. If it's a thing, New York City has it. If it's a band that plays only a few concerts, they're coming to New York City. Like everything just comes to you. You get to see movies before everyone else gets to see movies. Like it comes out in New York City before it comes out in other towns. Or like weird things, like when La La Land came out, we got to see it I think like a week before everybody else did. And also the movie theater that we went to had the costumes that were used in La La Land, so like weird things like that. And we went to Strand Bookstore the other day and it has the bench that was used in the Fault in Our Stars movie. Just like rare things, weird things like that that just kind of make life a little bit more entertaining and fun and like special. Whether it's like a artist that has a pop-up gallery, they're coming to New York City, or a band that doesn't play very many shows, they're coming to New York City. If it's a movie that doesn't get played anywhere, like weird indie films or documentaries or something like that, it's getting played somewhere in New York City. A brand that is a New York City based label, if you're looking for it, it's somewhere in New York City. And living in a small town, you have a lot smaller of a selection of clothing, of bands, of art, of museums. It's just like a smaller selection of everything. Yeah, that was everything that I had to say. This was a request from someone. Oh, I wish I knew her name. What is her name? Let's see. Let me see if I screenshotted it. Okay, I can't find it, but you know who you are. If you asked me to do a pros and cons list of living in a big city, thank you. If anyone else has any requests for videos for me to do, definitely comment them in the comment section down below, or message me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of the above, and I will get back to you. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good weekend, and I will see you all on Monday. Bye, bedheads. Love you lots.